Man, Rogers must be really excited for this interview. Not everybody gets the kiss treatment from Rogers Hampton. He only reserves that for the most special of folks. And apparently Sam Pittman is that guy. We welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger. He's Rogers Hampton. I'm Patrick Netherton. We're pleased to have you with us, and we're exceptionally honored to be able to welcome in the new head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks, Sam Pittman, who joins us. Coach, how are you?
Oh, man, I'm doing great, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Hey, you're quite welcome. We really do appreciate your time, especially getting on toward game week. Let's back up, though, before we talk about the upcoming game. You take the Arkansas job. It's a tough job. It's a beautiful location, but it sometimes can be tough to get to. There's some, Arkansas is not exactly the best football state in the world. I was there for 4 years, but there's a lot of great things about Arkansas. You were there before as an assistant. What decided, or what was the deciding factor to make you come back and decide to be the head coach?
Well, they offered me the job.
I love it.
No, I grew up 75 miles from Fayetteville, Arkansas, a little town of Grove, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Was an Arkansas fan when I was a kid. I came over to some games, kind of halfway semi-recruited, all that kind of stuff. But I fell in love with the Razorbacks. That was in the late 70s, and obviously, I think a lot of coaches' dreams are being head coaches. And even though it was later in my career, I was very honored and happy to take on the challenge.
So, and you mentioned that it is a challenge. I mean, this is a program that has kind of moved back and forth. And one of I think the most unique challenges that you face is that you've got a kind of a weird amalgam of players in there, from Brett Bielema's guys who were much more power football oriented to Chad Morris's guys who were much more speed and spread oriented. What's it like trying to kind of figure out the best guys to put on the field when you've got sort of an odd mixture of different styles of players?
Well, it's not real hard. I mean, we're Kendall Browse has a little bit of both those, Coach B and Coach Morris's offensive style. He kind of has both of them put together in one, and it's not really hard. I mean, we're not a big football team. We need to get bigger. We need to get bigger, in no matter what type of offense and defense we run. So we're trying to recruit bigger. We're trying to put weight on our kids as long as they can still function and move. But this is a big man's league, and no matter what kind of offense you run, it's a big physical man's league, and we need to get more of those guys on our football team.
Tell me about then what you sell to recruits for Arkansas. Why should a recruit, especially this is your first time being on the airwaves here in Northwest Louisiana. We obviously have a lot of good prospects throughout the state. What do you sell folks on and try to tell them to convince them to come up to Arkansas and play in Fayetteville?
Well, there's tradition here. As little as 11 years ago, in the past 11 years, we've been, to the Rose Bowl. We've been to the Cotton Bowl. This team has finished in the top 10 a couple years in a row there. So we won a national championship. So there's tradition here at Arkansas. When I was here before, we won 6, 7, and 8 games. We won 7 and 8 games back to back before I left and went to Georgia. So there are things that you can sell here, and obviously we have a beautiful facilities. Arkansas honestly should not be where they're at right now, in the bottom of the SEC West. I just don't believe that we should be here, and along with that comes opportunity. If you get a quality high school player that can come in and maybe he can help us right away. So those are things we're trying to sell right there, and we've been doing pretty well in recruiting since we've got here.
Talking to Sam Pittman, first-year head coach of the Razorbacks. All right, so Yeah, it's not bad enough that you're getting your first head coaching job in a team that you're trying to kind of get back on the right path, but then COVID hits, you lose spring football practice, the schedule turns into arguably the hardest in the country. Take me through trying to get a team ready and have things figured out when you don't have the benefit of a spring practice and when fall practice has been sort of hit and miss as it has been so far.
Well, I think your team has to trust you. I think what you say you have to do, and that was the hardest thing about when COVID hit. Everybody's scattered out of here, and it's hard to get trust, to build confidence over Zoom, and that was probably the most disappointing thing because I believe that our personalities of our coaches and our knowledge as coaches can help build confidence in our football team, but we weren't able to do it. Spring ball, certainly that would have helped because, we'd have been able to go out and correct some things, see some things, get them in the right positions and things of that nature before the end of spring ball. So those things hurt us. Obviously, it hurt probably every first-year coach. But we did add on some walkthroughs and some things of that nature that certainly made up for a little bit of lost time in spring ball.
Let's talk about your team. You mentioned Kendall Briles comes over as the offensive coordinator. We know his background. Obviously, there's, with his father and then what they did at Baylor. He did some of that at Florida State as well. Then Barry Odom, who is one of the most experienced coaches that you could possibly add as a defensive coordinator. What do you feel like the Razorbacks are going to look like offensively and defensively under those two guys?
Well, I think there'll be a lot of Kendall Briles and what he's done in his past, sprinkled in with a little bit of what I've done in my past, especially in the run game and the protection game. On defense, I think Barry is going to do what he always has done. He's run 3 to 4 different fronts per game, plenty of coverages, different twist games, blitz games. I think he's just going to do what he's done because he's had such great success. I think he'll just continue to do what he's done in the past, and that's be very, very multiple. Always, I've played against him several different times, him being a D coordinator or head coach, and he's always been so multiple that it's a little bit of a nightmare getting ready for each game.
Is that part of the appeal of bringing him on, is a guy that you looked over on the other sideline and thought, man, this guy's really difficult to prepare for?
Yeah, a big part of it. But the bigger part, guys, is I've known Barry for 20 years. We're really close friends. He tried to hire me over there at Missouri as his offensive coordinator a few years back, and I just didn't feel like the timing was right. I just got to Georgia, but I've known him forever. He's from Ada, Oklahoma. I'm from Grove, Oklahoma. We have a lot of similarities, but he's just a great guy, and he's hard to run the football on. And if you can't run it on people, it's hard to win just throwing it every play. So I wanted a guy that would stop the run, and certainly he knows how to coach that and how to do that. Talking
to Sam Pittman, head coach of the Razorbacks. Coach, when you look at this schedule, they obviously everything kind of got thrown haywire with COVID, and the 10-game schedule comes out, and you get Georgia and Florida from the East. Did you just shake your head? Did you laugh? I mean, what was the reaction when you saw the two that you added to the schedule?
Well, I wasn't surprised, to be honest with you. It looked like we may have had a seeding, and I get it. I understand it. We've told our kids that it's just an opportunity to make a bigger name for Arkansas. If we can go out there and upset a team or two that we got on our schedule, I think 6 of them are in the top, 10, 12, somewhere in that area, and it is what it is. We're in the SEC, and if we don't like, playing SEC teams, then we shouldn't be in the SEC. So we're excited about the opportunity.
Do you like having your old team to start off with, Georgia? Is that maybe a comfortability, not in the fact that they're obviously very good, but that you do know personnel and coaching and whatnot?
Well, I don't know if that would make it comfortable when you know their personnel. That would make you uncomfortable. But, sure, we know what they're going to do on defense. We also know the players that they have. On offense, that's, obviously we know the personnel, but we don't know what they're going to do because they have a brand-new offensive coordinator. So, special teams-wise, they have a brand-new special teams coach. So, defensively, we pretty much know what Dan Lanning and Kirby's going to do on defense, and we know who they have to get it done with. So, in some aspects it's that way. I did not think I'd leave Georgia and play on my first game, though.
Yeah, I hear you on that. All right, last thing for me, Coach. You're obviously offensively going to rely on Feleipe Franks. He's at least the big name that's coming in. I know it's a quarterback battle. Rakeem Boyd, we know, is fantastic. Tell me about Franks coming in, Boyd, and what you expect to see out of the name guys on that offense.
I'm really excited about Feleipe. For us not to have spring ball, for him to transfer in from Florida and then get voted a team captain, I thought that was really an honor, and it was an emotional deal for him. I was really proud of him as the kids voted him in there, and he's doing a wonderful job for us. Rakeem Boyd is a guy that a lot of people in the SEC know about, but not necessarily around the country. I think he's a really quality back. And, obviously at the wideouts, Traylon Burks is a kid that played last year as a freshman that has a lot of big-time talent. So offensively, we're hoping we can move the football. Our O-line's completely back, but yet we're very, very young, and we're not real big, So me, I like to have huge guys up there, and we'll have to get that done in the weight room and recruiting.
Coach, look, when you come down into the Northwest Louisiana corridor to recruit, and I know you will, we've got some great players down here. When you come down this way, I know you probably feel the same way about a good meal as I do. I think we're both kind of similar stature. You holler at me and let me know, and I'll make sure you get the right hookups for food when you get down here, Coach.
By golly, I'll do it. I sure appreciate it.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck this year, and we look forward to catching up with you before too long.
All right. Thank you much.
All right. Sam Pittman, head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks.